my personal site.
Okay. What is your personal site?
Danny DeRuiter. You want me to? I tagged you on this thing.
Okay.
So we're live. Let me know. Okay. Are we live now? There we go. All right, so we are live. Maria, hi Maria. Joel, ¿cómo estás? Sandy. All right, so what we're doing is we are doing a Facebook Live. We are just kind of, I'm here with my buddy Nalo Lechuga, and Nalo is, what do you, tell us about yourself. What do you do?
Everything. I have an organization, a nonprofit called Word in the Hood, where I speak to at-risk youth. I own a martial arts gym where I train and teach martial arts. I have my own podcast page called Ken Kong and Mr. Black, and what I do there is talk about anything, politics, religion, anything.
We can talk about anything.
That was really, that one was built to pretty much enlighten people, help people find enlightenment in enlightenment, all kinds of subjects. So that's where I'm sharing it right now, so my people can see it.
Okay, fantastic. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Please ask. And we're a little on delay here, but and Debbie, hey, and Zap Mendez, and Charlotte. Okay, so listen, if you got any questions, ask us. Now, tell us about your story and how you got involved in the Word in the Hood and all this.
I grew up in a city called Aurora, right outside of Chicago. And I grew up, actually I spent all day today, I was at schools in Chattanooga talking to the kids out there. But I grew up involved in gangs and drugs and everything like that. And I grew up thinking that I was poor. I grew up thinking that you know, the hood was the life, you know, because that's what I was told when I was a kid, you know. We were being fed lies, and I believed those lies for a big portion of my life, and it cost me everything, man. I almost lost everything, you know, sacrificed a lot of years of my life, and ended up in prison, and literally grew up in prison, mentally grew up. I was already grown, so I thought, but I mentally grew up in prison, and when that happened, I started seeing life differently, and basically told myself that I didn't want no more of that. I wanted to find success in my life, and I wanted to live the life that I thought I wanted to live when I was gangbanging. You know, I always thought that I was gonna be rich and own things and stuff like that, and you know, it turned out that never happened.
Right,
you know what I mean? So
you did your time.
And I used everything that I learned to expose the truth to kids. So what I do now is I go and I talk to kids, and I expose them to the realities of life, and I expose the nonsense that I was living for what it is, nonsense, lies. And I basically teach kids and I show kids that sometimes we're listening to the wrong people. When I was growing up, I was listening to the people that loved me, but they were guiding me all in the wrong direction, you know. The people that I wasn't listening to were teachers, counselors, and people like that were watching me grow up and actually seeing potential, and were telling me I had potential, but I wasn't listening. Yeah, I wasn't listening to them because it was always the excuse. What do you know? What do you know? You don't know what it's like to grow up poor. You don't know what it's like to grow up in the hood. And so what they were telling me went in one ear and out the other.
Sure.
Until I got that little enlightenment when I was, you know, in my late 20s, and I realized, wait a minute, I can.
And you've been successful. You have a martial arts studio. You were a paralegal.
I was a paralegal for 25 years.
Wow. So and you know you're what do they call it, a pillar of the community, are you?
I'm trying to be. I mean, I really am. I'm trying to be. I'm trying to make a difference for kids. I'm trying to make a difference, not just for kids, for anybody that's willing to listen, because what I try to teach is for everybody. You know,
Great.
we can all find an excuse not to succeed. Everybody has an excuse why not to accomplish something, and they're easy to find.
Sure.
And one of the things that I try to teach kids is, don't use it as an excuse to fail, but use it as a reason to overcome. I don't want to be a statistic, so I'm going to overcome these negative things that are going on in my life, whether it's, you know, poverty or you know.
And you connect with these kids because of your background. You know, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not my teacher saying this to me.
Yes.
This guy that kind of sounds like my story.
And that's what it is, man. It's
Oh, you can see it. You can
Yeah.
see the stuff through there. I can't even do that.
when I was a kid, he's technically challenged, technologically challenged.
And I thought I was on stuff. All right, but
When I was a kid, you know, we had people come into our neighborhood trying to help us, and it was always the excuse, oh man, you know, how am I going to listen to this guy that didn't grow up how I'm growing up right now? You know, these guys were born with silver spoons in their mouth, and you know, what do you know?
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
because it was easy. It was easy to make an excuse. And now, you know, kids are still doing that. So now when I talk to kids, I'm able to talk to kids and say, I understand exactly what you're going through.
and they connect, and they you bond. Now, having said that, you're having a little bit of.
It happens all the time, man. All the time. What we talked about the other day. A lot of times I run into brick walls because there's that lack of trust. You know, as soon as people find out my background, it's like,
This guy's going to show him how to be a gangbanger.
Yeah.
He's an infiltrator, and he's going to come in and.
like, I got time for that.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, like I want any more of that. You
Yeah.
know? and that's true. What it is, and I hate to say it, man, but it's like politics everywhere.
Sure.
You know, it's like,
Well, that's life. That's reality.
why should we trust you to reach our kids? It's like, because I'm trying to help.
Because you're
And-
trying.
and-
Exactly.
and I have an answer to the problems that you guys have been having reaching these kids.
But there's been, you told me, there's stories of sabotage and all kinds.
There
of,
is.
Yeah.
There is. We were talking about this the other day. I went and I spoke at a school. And right after I left, they called the organization, one of the organizations I work with, and said he's no longer welcome in our school. They didn't give any details, but they said it has to do with an incident that happened over here.
Yeah, right.
Somewhere else. And when it came down to it, it had to have been somebody that knew me and just didn't like me.
Well, because when you talk, you know, we're in the South here. Everybody has a little, they're not themselves. Am I okay? You know, there's a lot of facade here. Maybe is that safe to say?
Yeah, you know, and that's what it is. A lot of times you have people that are in positions to help, don't know how to help, don't want you to help. You know what I mean? And that's sad to say, because there's a lot of people in situations like that where they're in a position to help, don't know how to help, but don't want you to be the one to help. You know, and that's like,
Don't want you to get the credit.
it may be, that could be it. You know, that could be it. But I got a lot of people supporting what I do. You know, I have a lot of law enforcement that supports me. I mean, I've literally
And if
been,
I was in law enforcement, I'm like, this guy, I can actually connect with these people. Hey, have free reign.
I've
Talk to
had,
these people.
back in Illinois, I've literally had an officer come to me and said, man, I would love to have you come on our ride-alongs. What they do is they have a program where when they run into a kid, and they run into this kid with a known gangbanger or something like that, that kid goes on a list that he may be an associate, he may already be a gangbanger. So what they do is they try to intervene. The kid ends up on this list, and they literally go and do a knock and say, hey, we want to talk to this kid and we want to see
Where you are.
where
up
he,
here.
yeah. where he is, whether he's an affiliate, whether he's already a full member, and can we pull him away from that early? As soon as they make their first contact, they're stepping in to try to get this kid out.
Short and smart.
And a lot of times they don't have much luck because they are viewed as the enemy. They are viewed as somebody that's plotting against them. No, he's
Right.
trying to get me locked up. You know,
Right.
this guy's trying to find out what I'm doing so he can lock me up.
Right.
So they have that, and then you got parents that they don't fully know what their kids are involved in. You know, so they come in and they ask for permission to look around the kid's room to see if he's got gang colors or things like that, graffiti. And he was talking to me, he's like, look, man, we'd love to have you with us, but we need some type of authority from above, you know, city administrators. I reached out to that particular city and they don't want nothing to do with it. It's like, man, you have the power to get me in there where I can try to reach and help these kids, and you're not moving. You know, why is it? Why is it that you're not moving? You know what I mean? It's
Red
crazy.
tape. It could be red tape.
Yeah,
It could
I don't
be-
understand it.
It could be. You got some? Anybody asking questions there? So hey. And I wish I could actually read what's.
It's too far from you for you.
I can't even. I don't have it.
Oh. Well, you're seeing it right there, man. They're just all tiny.
Oh, okay. There it is.
Yeah, that's what that is.
No, these are the people that are watching. I don't have. Do you have any comments?
No comments, no questions, y'all.
No.
That's okay.
Okay, so there are no questions.
No questions right
Okay,
now.
so I have all this. All right, well
Okay.
that's fine. And by the way, guys, if you have any questions for Nalo or for me, or just type them and we will try to answer. Now, if somebody wants to help your organization, what
Yes.
do they have to do?
My organization is called Word in the Hood. I have a Facebook page. I have a website, wordinthehood.com. On my website, it has a donation tab.
Perfect.
You can help. It has a list of sponsors.
I'm on there.
He's one of the major sponsors that's always helping out. There's other local businesses, mostly local businesses that are sponsors. And the reality is, I mean, I've been doing this for a lot of years. I've been doing this for 12 years that I've been reaching out.
But it's coming out of your own
And-
pocket.
yeah,
and
well,
it's
for the first 10 years, it was
Yeah.
coming solely out of my pocket.
Sure.
When I started my nonprofit, it's a recognized nonprofit, 503c nonprofit. So now other people are joining in and helping out because I mean it takes resources to reach these kids, man. You know, like today I spent all day until 4 o'clock. I was at a school in Chattanooga.
Keep up the good work. Kids need you.
Yes, thank
Deborah.
you. So I was in Chattanooga, and it's always different because I start off with telling these kids, I don't assume you're going through what I went through. I don't assume you're doing what I did. But a lot of times you're going to be exposed to things that are similar. Here's a funny one, man, and this is terrifying. A lot of times I ask the kids, anybody has a best friend, raise your hand.
And
Everybody raises their
Sure.
hand. Keep your hand up if you will go to jail for your best friend. Kids keep their
Really?
hand up. Yes, and it blows my mind.
Because I'm
You
like,
know?
I got a best friend, but I'm not sure I put everything.
Well,
Like,
you're
sorry,
you're,
dude.
you're
you
grown.
know? Yeah, well, that's.
When you
that's-
were a kid,
I don't know how to answer that.
exactly. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So you get these kids that are being exposed right now to a lot of nonsense, and one of the biggest things that kids, there's cliches out there that kids, are always talking about. Snitches get stitches. That's a big one,
We were
right?
just talking about that same
And-
phrase the other day.
Yeah, so, I share this little experiment with these kids. I said, okay, now let's assume that us 4 right here are best friends. Police walks through the door. I throw my bag of weed on the floor. Everybody's got to keep their mouth shut. Would you tell? All the kids say no, I wouldn't tell.
Sure.
And it's like, you wouldn't tell because you'll be labeled as a snitch if you tell, right? Well, I used the word rat. I said, you'd be labeled as a rat if you tell, right? They're like, yeah. Let me tell you something. The only rat in this circumstances is me. I'm the rat for throwing that bag of weed on the floor. If you were truly my friend, and I had a bag of weed in my pocket and the police walked through the door, I would tell you, get away from me. I have a bag of weed in my pocket, and I don't want them to think that you're with me.
True.
So
Like,
get away from me.
I'll take
Yes.
the rap. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, obviously, I should. It's mine.
Right.
You know, and kids don't understand that. And then I share with them. I said, you know, you don't owe nobody nothing. You know, you don't owe nobody nothing. Why would you put yourself in that situation? If he was your friend, he would not have put you in that situation in the first place.
Very true.
So why would you illogically think that because we're friends, I got to keep my mouth shut? I tell them all the time. I would stand up, point you out, and say, "Hey, you better stand up and say it was yours, because, you know,
Exactly.
I shouldn't have to tell on you. You better get up and
If you
tell
were
on
really
yourself.
my friend, you would take the fall. Yes.
Get
I
up
agree.
and take responsibility for your own." You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily a gang problem. It's just a juvenile problem. Kids are being exposed to drugs
And
all the time.
almost like personal values, personal responsibility. Nobody
Yes.
wants to take responsibility.
No, exactly.
For what I do.
Well, the thing is, and one of the things I share with these kids, it's not you. This was handed down to you. They might not have been saying snitches get stitches 20 years ago, but the same mentality has been being handed down year after year. Oh, you don't tell on your friends. Oh, you don't say nothing if something happens. When kids are being exposed to this stuff, another thing I share with them is like, if I was gonna go steal a bike, hey, I'm gonna go steal this bike. You wanna come with me? What do I need him for? We can't both ride the bike.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you come with me, I will feel so much better if you're patting me on the back.
Of
telling me
course, you
my
got an
back.
accomplice, and
Yes, you know,
sure.
it's easier,
And
right?
if we go down, we're both gonna go down, and
Yeah.
I got company.
You know, and the
You know?
reality is we can't both ride the bike. So what I need you for?
Yeah, true.
I'm scared. That's why.
Okay.
You know, I need that pat on the back to encourage me to go do the dumb thing that I was thinking about doing.
Makes sense.
So that's kind of what I do, man. That's what my organization is about: exposing the truth of what's out there, what these kids are
And
being exposed to.
reframing.
The mind, yeah,
mind,
yeah, right, exactly. Because right now they're being conditioned, and I was conditioned to believe things a certain way, and we got to.
I mean, we're all conditioned with it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
And that's what my King Kong and Mr. Black
Okay.
podcast is about.
Okay.
It's about people being conditioned.
Because people are conditioned, like what I see, people are conditioned thinking that drugs is the only thing that's going to help you.
Yeah.
And my job is like, hello, no.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
And that's
I mean, we met nine years ago, maybe
Something like that, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been a long time.
Yeah.
I think back when you were down there. So
Yeah.
how many years ago was that?
A bunch of years. I don't even know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we met back then, and I think that's why I took a liking to you,
Yeah.
because you weren't about right away pumping somebody for medicine and stuff like that, and I learned right away that you were a different creature.
I am a different creature, but you know, people can only die. You can't just vomit information on people. And
I tend to do that.
Yeah, and you do bite-sized. What was that? Bite-sized. That's a pretty cool platform. I like the title that stuck. All right.
And okay, you made a statement. Ask a question. What do you want to know today, Dustin? That's what we're here for.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's true, and I hate it. I really wish people could absorb.
But they can't. And that's one thing I've noticed, because I have buddies that you're like, okay, I'm gonna convert somebody into, you've been taking drugs all your life. You think that, and I'm not talking about legal drugs, but you think if anything hurts, you pop a pill. This happens, you pop a pill. That's ingrained in your mind. And I have buddies that they go to a chiropractor and they vomit all this information, how. And people are like, whoa, my paradigm will shift, but it's too much.
It's hard though. It's
Yeah.
hard to get people to understand. It really is simple.
Sure.
Like you just said, you get people that come in. I'll share a personal experience with you that just blew my mind. My granddaughter was 1 year old. She had a seizure. And my daughter calls me like, hey, I rushed home.
Sure.
I get there, the ambulance is there already. And they're saying, well, it doesn't look like she's had a seizure to me. There's nothing we can do, it doesn't look like,
Right.
And they said, but if it makes you feel better, go to the emergency room. So we get to the emergency room. I tell my daughter, hey, we got insurance. It ain't gonna make no difference. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we take her to the emergency room, and the doctor's saying the same thing. There's really nothing I can't tell. She had a seizure, I don't see any signs. I mean, she's a little baby. He's holding her in his hands. She had a seizure. in his
Right
hand,
there, okay.
right then and there.
Right.
So she ends up having 7 seizures that day. The doctor says, listen, this could be that she touched something that caused her to have a seizure. She's 1 year old crawling around the floor. She might touch something, might have put something in her mouth, and it's in her system causing seizures. Once it passes through her system, she'll be done, right? So we're like, okay. So they're monitoring her overnight.
Sure.
The next day, another doctor comes in and immediately says, we want to put her on drugs. I tell my daughter, man, she's 1 year old. The last thing we need to be doing is pumping her full of drugs while she's developing. We had this conversation, and this doctor, I tell this doctor what the other doctor said. She's like, okay, but we still want to do this. They put her on medication. It's just a little bit of medication, right? Because we don't know. All the tests are coming back clear.
But we don't know.
Exactly, and that was my thing. It's like, okay, I understand what we don't know means.
Yeah.
So we go home. My daughter's giving her this medication. We go back a month later. I go back and I go with my daughter, and I said, listen, my daughter was young at the time. I said, listen, let's take her off the medication and see what happens. We have the kit. If she has a seizure, we have the kit. We can give her the medication immediately. No, we don't want to do that. And the doctor started telling me, well, the studies say, okay, what studies? You know, I've been a paralegal for 25 years. I'm not an idiot. You know, what studies? She's like, well, the studies. And I'm like, you know, can you show me some of these studies so that way I can read them and see what, you know, what they're talking about? Because I think the only way we're going to find out is if we take her off this medication and see if it happens again. I said, otherwise we're not going to know. You're just going to keep pumping her full of drugs. And she's like, well, we normally like to do this for 18 months. When we left, I told my daughter, I said, babe, sweetheart, take her off this medication. I said, don't pump your 1 year old daughter full of medication for 18 months. Take her off this medication. Let's see what happens. Took her off the medication. She never had another seizure. 3 months later, we go back. The doctor doesn't know that we've taken her off the medication. And I tell her, I plead with her, take her off the medication. She says no. Before we left, I looked at her. I said, you know what? We won't be back. We took her off that medication after the last visit. She's never had another seizure. But what happened was I started doing a lot of research. I found a research paper from another doctor who ended up she was already a doctor, in her late 30s or 40s, had a seizure and started having seizures. And she started looking deep into it and could not find out what was wrong with her. All the doctors were telling her, you know, get on medication. She's like, no, I want to find out where it's coming from.
Yeah, sure.
And so she ultimately did a paper saying a lot of times doctors don't know, and a lot of people feel better if you give them something. You give them something, and they automatically feel like, then I just took something, I'm supposed to get better.
Well, but that's and it could be the placebo effect.
And that's what she was talking about. She said, you know what? I ended up getting off medication and just changing my diet, doing studies about my diet, and have been able to, you know, get rid of, not have seizures anymore.
Well, I had a very similar story. My daughter Audrey, when she was about 1.5 years, she had a seizure. Freaked us out. Took her to the emergency room, did tests, all kinds of stuff. They don't know. Here's some medication. You know, and you know, of course, me, it's like I don't want to give her the medication, but I don't want her to have more seizures.
Right.
So you're in this thing. We tried adjusting. We tried craniosacral therapy. We tried all these weird stuff, but you know, she was still having seizures. And it comes to, I have to talk to the doctor about why I don't want to. And I said, well, listen, you know, one of the side effects is death. Just plain old,
right?
Plain old death.
Right.
Not just a, you know, this and, you know.
We'll let you know first.
Yeah, is death. And I said, well, I can't give her that.
In my right consciousness.
Yeah, no, I just can't do that. If that's one of the side effects, if it's a 1%, I still can't do it.
Right.
So we didn't. Turns out we moved away from that one particular location. We were living in an apartment that was fairly close to a cell phone tower, and and people are going to say, well, that of course that has nothing to do with fairly close to a cell phone tower. We moved away, never had another seizure. Now our neighbor,
you're getting into Ken Kong and Mr. Black territory now.
Our neighbor, about 3 months after that, the kid was found dead, had a seizure. They just found him too late. next door neighbor.
That's crazy, man. And, you know, and I think it's hard to deal with when they just don't know. But that doctor's report made me understand that it's okay not to know, but they are scared to death to tell you.
And that's the thing. And I see this all the time. Like people like come in and they're like, well, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'll do what I do. But they feel better. Like the doctor told me I have tendonitis. I'm like, all right. Did they do anything about it? No. But I have tendonitis. So do you feel better? Well, it still hurts, but I have tendonitis.
Right. Because you've accepted.
But you know, all tendonitis is your symptoms. Tendonitis, inflammation. You're not telling me anything.
Right.
You just look. Yeah. Well, you know, if
your elbow hurts.
Yeah. You know, if I get a hammer and smack your thumb, and you have.
I have a sore thumb.
Yeah. And you have inflammation of the thumb. Oh well, now I know what I have. You know, it's not helping anything. It's they just vomit back your symptoms, but you're like, oh well, at least I know what it is.
Well, you know, I don't take medication, right? I don't take medication. I don't take aspirin. I don't take anything. I did shoulder surgery and I didn't take the medication. Doctor actually got mad at me for not taking the medication. I'm like, I don't want to take the medication. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want, you know, not to say that I'm perfect, because I put foreign stuff in my body, you know, when I eat. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
When I eat, I'm putting foreign things in my body sometimes. You know, alcohol is a foreign substance that you're putting in your body. So, you know, but I don't put stuff, you know, I literally came out of the shower the other day. I usually put on YouTube when I go in the shower, listening to music, and you know, they have the commercials. There was a commercial for a medication that literally the side effect portion of the commercial on YouTube was 10 minutes long. And it's like, I came out of the bathroom and I told my wife, I'm like, babe, I just had to hear everything in the book. You're going to get everything in the book possibly taking this medication. Why would you do it? You know, I hear those commercials like, why in the world would you do it?
But you know, you feel better if you think they're doing something.
And that goes to the world we live in, where people are walking around blind. You know, and I tell people all the time, you have all the information you want, almost, you know, limitless at the tips of your fingers, and people only use it to text and Facebook.
Right.
I study every day, man.
And they're being fed, you know.
That's it.
They're being fed what they want you to.
Just like those kids on the streets, they're being fed, they're being influenced a certain way.
Exactly.
And if you don't interrupt that influence, destruction is the only thing at the other end.
No, I don't want to talk politics, but you know, when we're having a what I think is a intelligent discussion on things, and I hear, I'm like, oh, you just turn on the channel, you're just spewing out everything, and from both sides. I mean, it's not just you're just spewing out, you know,
regurgitating what you just heard.
What you just heard. It's like, you know, I can't discuss with that, because you're just as brainwashed as, you know.
I do. That's kind of what Ken calling Mr. Black.
Okay.
I point that stuff out and say, listen, man, stop falling for the nonsense. Do some research on your own.
Be an independent thinker.
Yeah, exactly. That exactly. Be an independent thinker. When one of the things, kids, they're not too young, and I try to push this on them, the law of attraction, and I try to tell them, you're not too young to start studying that. Start studying it, and it's backed by science. You know, speak things into existence. If you're religious, that's like one of the whole bases of certain religions.
Sure.
You know, faith.
Yeah.
You know, why?
But then there's like, okay, well, you can't do that. You have to limit yourself. You have to think this way. You know, no.
I refuse, man. I refuse to limit my thought process, man.
Well, that's probably why we have mutual respect for each other, and you're like, yeah.
I you know, being a paralegal for 25 years, I love to debate, and I have fun. I spent a couple months.
I used to love to debate. I mean, there is no more debate. You know, can I be honest with you? I used to love to sit up at night, you know, late at night and talk to people and you know, over a beer or something, just debate. That's the lost art. When was the last time you had a really good debate?
I still have a couple friends,
Really?
man. I still have a couple friends who are very intelligent, that we
Okay.
can sit down and have rational conversations and really debate issues. You know what I mean? But you're right. It's not like it used to be. You know, honestly, man, I found out years ago, intellectual conversation makes me feel good. You know, and I hang out with people that I can have intellectual conversations with.
Same here.
You know?
Here. I mean,
So-
and it is starting to be a lost art. It's not. You know, we can talk about. I don't know. People talk about, what do they talk about now? They don't talk about anything. They're
you know,
superficial.
yeah.
What
Lately,
do you see on Netflix, man?
you know what? I am watching something on Netflix.
I watch a lot of stuff.
I'm watching. I usually watch documentaries, man. I'm a big documentary fan.
Okay.
I'm watching that Making a Murderer right now. It is very, very interesting
I
because
heard
it
season 2
shows,
is not that good.
It shows no. Well, it's still no. Right now, I'm very, very interested because it's from that attorney is from Chicago.
Okay.
I literally almost hired her
Really?
because of her reputation. Yeah.
Oh.
I ended up hiring a different law professor who also had a great reputation. But what she's doing right now is she's literally picking apart and showing that it absolutely could not have happened the way they say it happened. And this is why. She went out there, she's a millionaire. She went out there and hired the best of the best to prove that it didn't. And right now she's only at, it didn't happen the way they said it happened. We still haven't figured out who did it.
What really happened, but
It
it's
didn't
not
happen
this
that way.
Yeah.
She has basically shown that they had scent dogs. Them scent dogs were never on his property until the very last. They were all over the neighbor's property. So that body was moved all over the neighbor's property and ended up on his property. So it's really, really, it's really interesting, especially if you understand the law. So for me, it's like fascinating because I'm like, aha, she is very, very intelligent and she's putting it out there very, very intelligently. She's piecing together all the pieces instead of just throwing it together. And
Did somebody put anything in there? Or no?
no, that was slow computer, I think. But yeah, so I'm really into that right now. I like it. I'm into it because it's my stuff.
I don't think I'm into any highbrow stuff myself. Last thing I saw at the movies was Nobody's Fool. There's somebody's putting something, or that's
Yeah,
the
but
same old stuff.
they're just making comments and
Okay.
they're not questions. Though.
Okay.
So thanks for participating, but questions are good.
Questions are good.
So health, what's going on in the health community? You know what I was wanting to look into? Stem cell research. I watched a podcast where Mel Gibson was on the podcast and he was talking about his father. His father's really up there in age and was having certain kinds of health issues. He took him to Panama and got him stem cell therapy and came back and said, look, my dad's doing stuff that he ain't done in a long time. And he even made it a point to mention his dad was getting down again.
Really?
After
Okay.
stem cell research, after stem cell therapy. I don't have no cartilage in my shoulders.
Sure.
So I was thinking about that, man. Do you know anything about it?
I don't know much about it. I always think when somebody brings up stem cell and they're always barking up the wrong tree. But there might be something to it. I just my philosophy on health is, again, I don't think we're gonna find the answer to health in a pill, in a bottle, with surgery. I don't think that's where it comes from.
Okay.
I really don't. I mean, I think if we find a way to unlock, and stem cell, why can't we, if we find a way to stimulate your own, and that's
Right,
kind of what
right.
stem cell
Right.
is, stimulate your own production of something, but I don't necessarily think it's going to come from a lab or a
The
drug
outside.
from the outside.
Right,
It's
okay.
something somebody's got to gotta come up with some
You know,
sort of a technique.
I agree with you. There's to an extent. You're familiar with that. You're familiar with that. The Secret.
Sure.
That guy in that movie, the documentary portion of it, who was paralyzed, and they told him that he'd never walk again, never talk again. I mean, he sat there and literally. I can't remember if they were wondering how he was able to talk because his vocal cords were still destroyed. And it's to me like, where there's a will, there's a way.
Sure.
You know, so with that being said, how did he teach himself to talk again if his vocal cords were still destroyed? You know, can we move our body to regenerate cartilage? You know,
I actually think we can. I mean, and there's different schools of thought.
I'm about to jump on the Christian bandwagon for you.
On the Christian Science?
Well, no, Christianity.
Uh-huh.
And I share this with people all the time. So if you guys agree or disagree, let me know real quick. But I'm a firm believer Christ was real, and Christ came to tell us of the power that we had within us that we were no longer using. He made somebody see that was blind. He made somebody walk that was crippled. And he taught 12 guys to do the same thing.
Sure.
Those 12 guys were right there with him. They believed what he was teaching and were able to do the same things.
But all of a sudden now we can't do that.
And then all of a sudden now we can't do that.
Sure.
But yet, we have people that are hardcore Christians, and it's like, okay, then why can't we do that? If you believe that he did it, and he said you can do it, why can't we do it?
Nothing gets my goat more. I see, all my Christian people, they're like, please pray for my hangnail, please pray for this, please pray for that. Okay, number one, y'all got to take better care of yourselves. Because as a group, no one takes care of themselves. And number three, instead of, pray for something, take a little, I think you can do it. You can, lay hands on somebody, whatever it is, you can fix it.
And I believe that. I'm about to pull up this video, and I'm going to try to share it real quick.
Can you share it on there?
Yeah, I'll be able to share it.
We're controversial.
I don't mind being controversial.
No, okay.
I don't mind being controversial at all. And maybe to a fault, I'm gonna say what I want to say.
Oh yeah, no, I got no problem. There's enough people that think I'm pretty weird as it is, and I'm good. Can you share that on?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now.
I'll be very impressed if you can.
Oh, watch me. That's what the internet is for, bro.
Stem cell.
Technology is great. So you guys, I'm on another computer. We got 3 computers.
We got actually 4.
Yeah, 1.
We're all
5.
We even have another one here. We're all technological, but we still can't see questions. We got a couple questions there. Yeah.
Bang! This thing just decided to spell what it wanted to spell. All right. So this story right here is why
How you gonna share?
I believe. I'll show you in a second, bro.
All right.
I'm waiting for it to, with your slow computer. So,
Hi, Wendy.
why is it not? There it goes. All right. So, this story that I just shared in the comments, this story is about a guy that couldn't walk without assistance and started taking care of himself, ended up losing a lot of weight, and not only did he end up walking, he ended up running. You know what I mean?
Oh, this guy.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen this story.
Sure, of course.
You know, when you see stuff like this, it makes you wonder, what's your excuse? You know what I mean? What is your excuse? There are people out there doing amazing things, and your limits are your own. Your limits are the ones that you put on yourself. You know, if I continue to poison my body, I can't expect to do anything else but reap those, rewards. That's
sometimes I can't help myself and I go off on people. Have you ever heard me?
No, I've not heard you go off on
I
anybody.
have gone off on people, and if I've gone off on you, I apologize. But because people limit themselves, and I said, all right, number one, because I can't. You can stop walking like you're handicapped because you can walk. Do it. But I'm like, just stop it and do it. And they're like, oh, okay. And finally, afterwards, they're like, oh, well, thank you for that. Thank you for pushing me. But sometimes it's annoying, especially when you see somebody that's got all the potential in the world. A 35-year-old, I can't do this, and I'm just like, really.
They told me I needed 2 shoulder replacements, right? And he told me don't do it. He said don't do it because you're too active. You're just going to ruin them. So keep living life until you can't take it no more. You know what I mean?
Right. And I don't discourage. If you feel like you want surgery, what am I going to do?
Right.
Knock yourself out.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's, to me, I do what I do. I try to stay active, and I enjoy it, man. I enjoy it, but too many people are out there finding an excuse, man.
That's old. That's no big delay there.
It is, yeah. But people are finding an excuse, and to me, it's like, why, man? Find a reason. You know what I'm saying? Don't find an excuse. Find a reason. I teach a kids class also.
Sure.
I teach a kids martial arts class. The one thing that I don't let my kids say in class is can't. I don't let them say that. If one of them says it, all the others are like, ooh.
Yeah. Well, good.
Ooh,
let me share something with you. All right, and this is how the mind can limit you. I remember this is, I must have been 6, 7 years old. My parents used to fight constantly, and I remember one day I came down and I must have had a fever or something, and I came down and I'm like, I'm sick. Those two stopped fighting like this. One sprang into action, like, go get me this and go get that. My dad goes off to the pharmacy to get this and that, and they stopped fighting. And guess what happened? I was a sick kid.
Yeah.
I was a sick kid.
Yeah.
I had asthma. I developed asthma. I developed all these things when I was a kid, and it took a coach. It took a coach in high school. Because I was like, coach, I can't run.
Or you found your ticket. You said
Yeah.
you're sick, and all the negative stopped.
Well, exactly.
But
There was just
you-
one coach that said, listen, I don't care. You're gonna do it. You're gonna try. You're gonna do your best. I'm like, oh my God. So I tried, and to my surprise, I could do it,
Yep.
and I could do a little more.
We talk about that all the time, especially in my family. I don't like people talking about I'm sick or this hurts or that hurts. Nah, don't talk like that. Don't talk.
Well,
like
there's
that.
some people if they didn't talk about that, they have nothing to talk about.
That's
And
a problem.
I've told people, I'm like, all right, listen, when your pain goes away, what are you going to talk about? Because that's all I ever hear from you. And people are like, well, you're the chiropractor. You got to. No, I don't want to hear that. When I ask you how you doing, I don't want to hear your knee hurts. I don't care about. I want to know how you're doing.
We'll figure that stuff out.
Yeah. How are you?
Is that defining you? Is that
Yes,
knee pain defining you?
exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand. I don't like to see it. I don't talk like that. I had a somebody that I interact with, and she's part of an agency that I work with, but she's a Christian, and we went to go visit a kid, and when I get there, they're standing outside. She says she's sick, so I don't want to go inside. Last time she was sick, I went inside. I got sick, so I don't want to go inside. I'm not gonna get sick. Do you want to go inside?
Sure.
And I don't care.
Sure.
I went inside. I'm talking to the kid. We left after it was all said and done. I spoke to her the next day, and she said I got sick. I said okay. She said it to me. So you opened the door. I said, listen, can I say something to you very, very personal? She's like, go ahead. What's up? I said, you're a Christian, right? She said, yeah. I said, why did you get sick? She said, well, because she was sick. No. You got sick because you said you were going to get sick. You spoke that nonsense into existence.
There you go.
Because when you said, do I want to go in? I don't care. I'm not going to get sick. You know, I said, so you did that to yourself. And if you are a Christian and you believe what you preach, then you should understand that very, very clearly. You know, whether you believe in Christianity or whether you believe in science.
Listen, I always tell them, I don't get sick. I'm exposed to people coughing and this, I rarely get sick. You know, why? Am I better than you coughed on me, now I'm gonna get sick. I've had literally people cry, like, somebody coughed on me, now I'm gonna get sick. I'm like, what are you talking about? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I read.
What do we got?
You're right. People make excuses because they don't think they can. I mean, it's really our job to continue to encourage people. Once we become aware of, I guess the things that we know, we need to tell people that, and that's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
To tell people, you have the power within you to either succeed or fail, to get sick or not sick.
And listen, I don't know about you, but I've seen miracles, literally miracles. I've seen lame people get up and walk. I've seen people that were blind that got their eyesight back. I've seen crazy stuff. And it's like, well, that doesn't happen. Those studies say that doesn't happen. No. I'm like, you know what? Screw studies.
Exactly.
I've seen it.
Exactly.
And I've even seen a case. We had a lady that had I wouldn't say full loss of eyesight. She got adjusted. She got her eyesight back. She went to the doctor. She told her, like, that doesn't happen.
Of course not, because they've never seen it.
And then she's like, oh, okay, it doesn't happen. And she left. She lost it again.
Oh my gosh! And you know what it was? Her power of belief.
Exactly.
She allowed him to say, no, that doesn't happen.
I blame myself.
I'm going to go back to Christianity for 1 second.
Yeah.
When Peter walked on water,
he
walked
himself.
on water, and then he said, wait a minute, I can't walk on water. And what happened?
And he went down.
Sunk.
Yeah. And that's but I blame myself for that what I thought, because I wasn't strong enough to kind of counteract. I know it's like they got fancy buildings and doctors in white coats, and that's a very big a concept that's very strong, but she had it and she let it go.
Yeah, and it's very, very simple. Why did she go back to that doctor to tell that doctor,
Because she needed validation.
She needed validation, and she got validation for what she thought in her heart.
There you go.
This was not real.
Yes.
This can't possibly be happening to me. Bro, I mean,
I hear you.
I hope to never be in that situation, but
yeah, but it's very limiting when you let because listen, if you look around, there's always somebody saying no, you can't do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do, and that's why and even the secret mentions this stuff. If there's something that you really want, a real goal that you want, don't tell everybody.
Yep,
Don't tell
somebody's
everybody.
gonna laugh at you.
Somebody's gonna laugh at you, and they will do their best to kind of.
Yeah,
Stop
I mean,
you.
we live in a world of haters.
Sure.
We do. We live in a world of haters.
And you don't need.
If we have two obese people in front of us, and one of them decides to change and starts putting forth that effort, and the other one says, well, I'm going to do it too, but the other one half-asses it, there's always going to be, oh, well, she did it because my problem is different. You know what I mean?
And it happens in marriages. It happens in it's like, and you see this. A couple are like, we're going to lose weight, or I'm going to lose weight. The other will try to sabotage you.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I feel like cake today.
Yeah. It's like, well, because you're gonna be better to yourself. All of a sudden, you're not gonna love me anymore. Or so I'm just,
do it on your own.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, misery loves company, right? Okay. Guess what? A smile loves a smile. So you can have either or. I mean, the menu's there. You get to pick what you want. You wake up in the morning, oh, everything hurts, and I feel bad today. I don't want to go to work. Guess how the rest of your day is going to be? That you woke up, and they call it waking up on the wrong side of the bed, right?
Right.
It's an excuse. You can wake up and say, today's going to be a good day. I was watching
I'm alive.
Yeah.
Hey, number one, I'm alive. This is great.
Yeah. I was watching a video the other day, And he said, listen, every day when you get up, take 2 minutes to stand in front of the mirror. Breathe in deep, poke your chest out, and say something good. Tell yourself what you are, what you are. And I tell people, I tell myself every day, I'm the baddest mofo on the planet. You can't prove me wrong,
right.
And
if you don't say that to yourself, who's going to tell you that?
Exactly. And you know what? And I was telling you the other day that when I was a kid, before I knew the things that I knew or the things that I know, I used to treat myself good as a kid. And I used to tell myself, nobody treats Nalo like Nalo treats Nalo. When I'd go buy myself a gift, I'd thank myself and I'd say, nobody treats Nalo like Nalo treats Nalo. I didn't need it. I didn't need anybody to do for me. I was doing it for myself.
Well, but that's huge.
Yeah, and people just need to do that for themselves.
I agree. And there are people always looking for somebody else to make me happy. Well, somebody's right.
No, they're just making comments. They're not questions. They're participating, but not making comments.
Okay.
Or not asking questions. But guys, if you believe what we're saying, let us know that too. There's so much information. I watch videos on the law of attraction, on health, on stuff all the time, and it's like, okay, I'm watching these videos, but what difference does it make if I don't actually act?
Sure, but you have to get into. I know why you use the videos, because it gets you in a headspace, in a mind space, because you don't have those type of people hanging around you, encouraging you all the time. You're dealing with, so you got to go somewhere to feed yourself.
Yes, exactly. And so when I do run into those situations where people are being negative, it's like, I don't got an opinion. I don't got an opinion.
Yes.
I don't got an opinion. But I tell you, I still have that other side of me that when I see nonsense, I just have to stop it, stupid.
I do that sometimes, but a lot of times it's like I pick my battles, and it's like, is it worth my energy? You're just gonna wallow in your filth.
I don't. You know what I have found, and I teach. There's somebody watching that he'll attest to this. I don't care. I do not give not one. Right, and he knows this, so I know he's watching right now. So when I do stuff like that, whatever your response is, it's not going to affect you. If I say, look, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard come out of somebody's mouth, you can sit there and try to bash what I just said for an hour, and you're not going to change my mood. I might continue to have dialogue with you, but you're not going to change my smile because I'm not putting my emotion into that. I'm only giving you something from here. I'm not putting my heart into it because this is mine. I can't let you.
That's good.
I can't let you mess that up.
That's great.
So I can have it. This is another thing. This is how we started. I'm going to take it back to how we started.
Okay.
I can wear 2 hats at the same time. You know what I mean? I can love these kids, and the reason I'm saying this, I can love these kids and help these kids, and still call out unrighteousness when I see it. Right?
Sure.
I had somebody recently tell me that they heard that there is absolutely no way I can have this opinion and care about these kids at the same time. It's like, what? Are you serious? Somebody literally said that there's no way I can be sincere about loving these kids and have this opinion at the same time. I said, man, that's complete nonsense. And they said, look, man, I know.
But they're idiots.
But
move on.
But there's idiots out there. Like, you can't be on one side of the fence or the other. You can't be, you can't believe, take politics for instance.
Sure.
You cannot believe in this
and this
at the same time.
Right.
No, you got to be either in this box or this box. You can't be out here by yourself just looking at 2 sides saying, well, that's stupid.
But that's,
That's the world we live in.
I agree.
So it's like, can you really believe that you can heal yourself and still be popping pills every day?
No, I don't think so. You're almost like serving 2 masters. You can't really do it. You got to go all in.
And that's sad because there's so many people. I tell you, if my wife's watching, I hope she don't kill me. Yes, people are always going to have a negative opinion, but when I first moved here,
there's something going on with my hair. Great.
Nobody cares about your hair, bro.
Thank you.
Look, I had moved here. My wife used to have, and she still has it. It's called a Pooh Bear bag, right? The Pooh Bear bag is the medicine cabinet,
Okay.
right? And I literally conditioned my kids in a positive way. We would get into arguments. If my kid would sniffle, any one of them would sniffle, she's running to the Pooh Bear bag, and she's hopping them up. You know, here, take this Tylenol, take this NyQuil, whatever. And I remember one day we literally got into an argument. I said, have you read those labels? Do not take this and that at the same time. You're going to kill their liver. You know what I'm saying? I said, stop giving these kids that stuff. And then when she wouldn't stop, I went to my kids and I sat them down. I said, listen, this, and this, and this is how I feel. What do you think? Bro, they would not sniffle in front of my wife no more because they knew what her solution was.
Right.
And they knew what my solution was, you know? And right now, I don't never say I'm getting sick. If I feel something, you know what my response to that is? Oh, my body's fighting something. That'll be gone. That'll be gone by tomorrow.
And chiropractically, my body's expressing health, expressing symptoms. Okay, good.
Well, let's fix that real quick.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, I'm a different story.
Yeah, but I
come to you because I jack myself up every day.
Yeah. But I mean, but that's, you know, it's just to kind of reframe the situation. I'm not getting sick. I'm just fighting this. I'm just, you know, like people are like,
oh, I feel it. This is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
And
like
sure enough.
I threw up. I feel sick. I'm like, listen.
And now you're 3 days out.
Listen, you threw up. You're sick. What if I had poisoned you and you threw up? Is that healthy or is that sick?
Exactly.
And they're like, okay, so that means you're healthy. Your body realizes
whatever's there is getting rid of it.
It's getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Like if you have the stomach bug,
it's a matter of perspective.
And you're on the toilet, is that good or bad? Well, your body's trying to get that out of it.
Yeah. Yep.
You're a perfectly healthy individual, just trying to take care of the condition.
You know, I had whenever I say read, I didn't read anything because I stopped reading long ago. Even though I read every day, I still say I stopped reading because I rather listen to an audiobook. You know, I read articles every day. I read a lot of stuff every day, but to read a book, I don't like reading books anymore. I listen to audiobooks. So I'm listening to this audio, and it said, listen, man, when you ate that spoiled egg or whatever it was, it wasn't the egg that done anything to you. It was you. Once you realized the egg was spoiled, your mind immediately said, oh, I'm going to get sick. And you got sick. You know, and it's like, if your mind was right, you ate that spoiled egg and it can't have absolutely no effect on you. You know, if your mind is right.
Listen, I tell my people come in here, my sciatica, it's like, don't name things mine. What's wrong with you? You're taking ownership of that condition. Like, oh, it's my back pain, my this. Don't name it. And if another thing they do is you make me sick. You know, I'm ill. They use all these terms. I'm like, dumbass, you know, you're literally telling your body to get sick.
Yeah. Every time I see you, I get this feeling.
Well,
yeah. Guess what? Now every time you see that person, you get this feeling.
You are conditioning your body to act, to respond from whatever stimulus. You make me sick.
Hey, what's up, Chewy, Roxanne, and Rojo? I hope you guys ask questions. But yeah, you're right, man, and I think it's a big thing in this day and age because we have so much more information. You think about back in the 50s and the 60s, how it was like, okay, give them a cold shower, lay it on down.
Right, but now if you Google or you Google your symptoms, you're gonna die, brother.
Yeah. It's like you have to specifically, okay, I want to know what I can do for this naturally. Because if you Google a symptom, it's like, here, try this. Yeah. Here's this medication and that medication.
But it's always the worst case scenario. And I have people saying, well, I have
Oh, self-diagnosed.
Yes, and like, where did you hear that? Oh my gosh, like there's like 4 people on the planet that I have ever gotten that. Where I Googled it. I'm like, yeah, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. For me, it's always, what is wrong with me? Not a damn thing. What's there to complain about? Not a damn thing. You know, sometimes things happen. You know, when I broke my toe, I came over here and told you, hey,
Okay, physically,
my toe is broken, but still, adjust my feet or whatever.
Yeah.
I know what I did. I did it to myself.
And you know what's the awesome thing? The body heals.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the friggin' wonderful thing. You do stuff to it, the body heals.
Yeah.
Now you start working against nature, and the body takes longer to heal, or you start messing around, then you start getting these. Fever is a good thing.
Yeah. It's
So why you gonna if fever is a good thing? Now they have studies because everybody wants to hear studies. Well, I mean, I could have told you that without study.
One of the first things I learned when I started as a paralegal and I started working for an attorney, he says, listen, you can pay an expert to say anything.
Anything you want. Any viewpoint whatsoever. Anything.
Yep.
They can argue till you blue in the face for anything. So if you bring down a fever is good. The body's like, oh, we got bacteria. Let's bring this up so that bacteria cannot reproduce at this high temperature,
right,
because that's not the optimum temperature for them. For them, it's 98.6. Well, let's crank it up to give the body the antibodies, the white blood cells.
Putting them in the furnace.
Yeah, time to come and get it. So what do? Oh, have a fever, bring the temperature down. Well, now your kid is going to get sick 3 days longer than if you hadn't done anything.
You remember back when the swine flu was a big thing, right? Sure. Okay, so this was 2009, somewhere in that area, I think it was. So I'm hearing about this swine flu. They're talking about, the worst thing ever, right? And I remember back then I got sick. I called my friend, he's a doctor. I said, hey man, I don't know if it's swine flu. He said, listen man, let's go ahead and not nip this in the bud.
It's not so.
He said, listen, the flu is the flu. Your body's going to fight it the same way. So it doesn't matter if it's the swine flu or some other flu. It's the flu. There's nothing they can do for you but give you some medication to alleviate the symptoms while you're going through it. He's like, your body's either going to fight it or it's not. He said the only reason it's a big thing is because it kills horrible immune systems, which is little babies or older people.
Which what does that mean? Build up your immune system.
Right.
Build up your immune system. And you could build up your immune system with echinacea and all these natural things. Build it up, vitamin C, but you can also build it up with this. I'm not going to get sick.
Exactly.
Have you ever? I've done this. I'm like, no. We're not getting sick.
Yeah.
I've told my body, we're not getting sick.
We're not doing that right now.
No. I was like, I appreciate that you're trying, but we're not getting sick.
Right.
And you don't get sick.
Like the lady last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going in there, I'm going to get sick. Man, I don't care. Hey, I ain't getting sick. Yeah.
So I'm going to have to get a kid from the place, so,
Right,
so we got, what do we got? Any questions? We got any more questions? No?
No, we got people that have joined. We're wrapping up, guys. We appreciate your participation. I mean, there's plenty of people watching, so we appreciate the participation, and we hope that we shared something worthwhile. We knew we were just going to come in and conversate
and shoot the breeze.
Have a little bit of a rant about this and that.
Right. Now, listen, if you want to hear something specific, we can get together and go over some more stuff at a later date.
And for everybody watching King Kong and Mr. Black, my boy Ken has been just working his butt off, so you haven't seen us in a while, so I had to hang out with this guy. He's no Ken, but
I know.
but he's a good guy. So, and also he's an intelligent guy. If I'm going to do a podcast, I want to do it with somebody that I can have a conversation with. So that's always good. But again, if you guys have any questions,
and mention the thing, your
we started off with talking about Word in the Hood. If there's anybody out there in the community that wants to help, reach out to on my website wordinthehood.com or my page here on Facebook, Word in the Hood, and let us know that you want to help, man. What I do is we reach out to at-risk youth. One of the things that I've been doing lately, and I think I shared with you, we've been trying to get these kids off the streets and getting them into martial arts. So
Right.
we've been sponsoring that, and we need help. We have, you know, about 3 kids right now that we're getting them off the streets by putting them in martial arts, and we need help to pay for that, guys. So
There
anything you guys want to do, and you want to help, we're there. We definitely
If
can
you-
use the help.
If you feel led to donate.
And we are a nonprofit, so it can be.
So it's legit.
Yes, and you guys can make them kind of donations.
Okay.
All right.
All right, and you know, I'm sure I'll recycle this for some other use as
Okay.
well, and it'll be on my page.
It'll be on my page. It's already shared to my page.
There
It'll
you
be
go.
saved
Good.
there.
Good. All right. Well, thank you guys, and you know, reach out to us if you want. You know, any other talk about anything. Okay. Thank you.